My brother withdrew $25,000 from my son's $529 plan for business startup costs, said college isn't guaranteed anyway, spent it in 10 weeks on gear. His wife got the tax penalty notice, moved out, and I sued in probate for breach, getting wage garnishment. I set up that $529 plan when my son was 2. He's 14 now. Every birthday, every holiday, every extra shift I worked, it all went in there. My brother knew this. He watched me scrimp and save for 12 years. 3 months ago he called me all excited about this business opportunity. Some kind of outdoor adventure gear company. He needed startup capital. I said no. I don't have that kind of money lying around. He said he understood. 2 weeks later I get a letter from the 529 plan administrator. Withdrawal processed. $25,000. I called them immediately and they said someone with authorized access made the withdrawal. I added my brother as a backup beneficiary years ago when my ex left, just in case something happened to me. Never thought he'd actually use it. I drove straight to his house. His wife answered the door and I could see brand new kayaks in the garage behind her. Expensive ones. She looked confused when I pushed past her. Where is he? My brother came out of the kitchen holding a protein shake. Completely calm. I shoved my phone in his face with the withdrawal notice. What the hell is this? He glanced at it. Oh yeah, I meant to tell you about that. You meant to tell me? You stole from your nephew. I didn't steal anything. I'm listed on the account. And honestly, college isn't guaranteed anyway. The kid might not even want to go. This business is going to pay off way better than some state school degree. I lost it. Started yelling. His wife came over asking what was happening and I showed her the notice. She went white. You took money from a child's college fund? He tried explaining his brilliant business plan to her. She wasn't having it. Neither was I. I told him he had 48 hours to put every cent back or I was calling a lawyer. He laughed. Good luck with that. I'm an authorized user. Completely legal. I left and called a lawyer that afternoon. Turns out it's not as simple as he thought. The 529 plan was set up for my son's educational benefit. My brother wasn't supposed to use it for personal business expenses. My lawyer said we could sue for breach of fiduciary duty and petition probate court for an emergency order. We filed within a week. In the meantime, I watched my brother's social media. New camping gear. New mountain bikes. Professional photography equipment. He was burning through that money like it was nothing. His wife called me crying 5 weeks after the withdrawal. I got a tax penalty notice. Did you know there's a massive penalty for non-educational withdrawals? I did know. My lawyer told me. The IRS considers it income plus a 10% penalty. My brother was going to owe thousands in taxes on top of returning the money. He spent most of it already, she said. We don't have $25,000. We can barely cover the tax bill. Then he should have thought of that before he stole from a kid. She went quiet. I'm leaving him. I can't be married to someone who would do this. She moved out that week. Took their daughter. Filed for separation. My brother suddenly wasn't so cocky anymore. He called me begging to drop the lawsuit. I'll pay it back. Just give me time. You had time. You had 12 years to watch me save that money and you decided to spend it on toys in 10 weeks. The probate court ruled in our favor. Breach of fiduciary duty. The judge was furious. Ordered immediate repayment plus legal fees. When my brother said he didn't have it, they set up wage garnishment. 20% of every paycheck until the full amount plus penalties and my legal costs are paid back. His business never happened. He's got a garage full of equipment he can't afford to keep in a marriage that's over. My son's college fund is being restored slowly, but it's happening. My mom called me last week saying I destroyed my brother's life over money. That family should forgive family. That I should have just let it go. Am I a butthole? The garnishment started hitting my brother's paychecks 2 weeks after my last post, and that's when he completely lost it. He showed up at my house at 11 at night banging on the door. I watched him through the window for a minute before calling the cops. He was screaming about how I ruined his life, how his wife left him, how he can't afford his mortgage anymore. Like I'm supposed to feel bad that stealing from a kid has consequences. The police came and told him to leave. He did, but not before yelling that this wasn't over. My son heard the whole thing. He's 14 and he finally understood what happened. He knew about the lawsuit, but I kept the details vague. Now he knows his uncle stole his college money and spent it on camping equipment. Does he hate me? That's what my son asked me the next morning. I didn't know what to say. How do you explain to a kid that his uncle valued kayaks more than his future? My mom kept calling. She wanted me to drop the garnishment. Said my brother was going to lose his house. I told her he should have thought about that before he withdrew $25,000 that wasn't his. She said I was being cruel and vindictive. I hung up on her. Then my brother's soon-to-be ex-wife called. She wasn't calling to defend him. She wanted me to know what else she found. Turns out the business venture was never real. He made up the whole outdoor adventure company story. He just wanted the gear for himself. She found his search history. He'd been planning to withdraw the money for months. Even looked up whether he could legally do it as an authorized user. He knew exactly what he was doing, she said. He researched the penalties. He knew about the taxes. He just didn't care. That made it so much worse. This wasn't some impulsive mistake. He planned it. He looked at my son's college fund and decided he deserved it more. The court-ordered repayment is going to take years at the current garnishment rate. My lawyer said we could push for a higher percentage, but the judge already set it at 20%. My brother's claiming financial hardship, but he's still got a garage full of equipment he refuses to sell. He posted on Facebook about how I'm destroying his family over money. Didn't mention that the money was meant for his nephew's education. Didn't mention that he committed fraud. Some relatives reached out supporting him, saying I should be the bigger person. That family forgives. I blocked most of them. My aunt was the worst. She said college is overrated anyway and my son could just get a trade job. Like that's the point. The point is my brother stole from a child and thought he'd get away with it. My son's been different since he found out. Quieter. He asked if we'd have enough money for college now. I told him yes, but I don't know if that's true anymore. The fund is being replenished but slowly. We lost 3 months of growth and the penalties ate into it. I'm putting in extra, but it's not the same as having 12 years of compound interest. My brother tried a different approach last week. He sent my son a text. A long message about how he made a mistake and he's sorry and he hopes they can still have a relationship. My son showed me the text. There was nothing in there about paying the money back faster. Nothing about selling his equipment. Just sorry and excuses about how stressed he was about money. My son didn't respond. I didn't make him. The tax bill hit my brother harder than he expected. His ex-wife forwarded me the notice. Nearly $8,000 owed to the IRS. He's trying to set up a payment plan, but between that and the garnishment and his mortgage he's drowning. He put his house up for sale 3 days ago. My mom called again. She's furious that I won't help him. He's your brother. He made a mistake. He made a choice, I said. He researched it. He planned it. He looked at his nephew's future and decided camping gear was more important. She started crying. Said I'm tearing the family apart. I told her he did that when he committed fraud and hung up. I'm not backing down on the garnishment. I'm not dropping the lawsuit. My son deserves that money back and my brother deserves every consequence he's facing. But my whole family is acting like I'm the villain here. Like I'm supposed to just let it go because we share DNA. My son asked me yesterday if his uncle ever actually cared about him. I didn't have a good answer for that. What do you say? That his uncle probably did care but cared about himself more? That people can love you and still hurt you when it's convenient? The whole thing is exhausting. My brother's life is falling apart and everyone expects me to feel guilty about it. I don't. I'm tired and angry, and watching my son process this betrayal is worse than any of it. He trusted his uncle. We both did. Am I wrong for not dropping this? Everyone keeps saying I'm being too harsh, but he stole from a kid. His own nephew. And he's still not taking real responsibility. Still hasn't sold a single piece of equipment to pay it back faster. Still posting on social media about how unfair this is. My brother sold his house last week for $60,000 less than he paid for it, and my mom is acting like I held the gun to his head during the signing. She called me at work screaming. Actual screaming. Said I destroyed her son's life over money that wasn't even being used yet. I reminded her the money was being used. It was growing in an account specifically designed for my son's education, and her other son stole it to buy toys he still hasn't sold. He lost everything because of you. He lost everything because he committed fraud. She hung up. Then she called my son. My 14-year-old son. Told him he needed to convince me to drop the lawsuit because his uncle was suffering and it was partially his fault for having so much money saved up. Like my kid should feel guilty for me being a responsible parent. My son came to me crying. Not because he felt guilty, because he was angry. He told his grandmother to never call him again and blocked her number. I didn't tell him to do that. He did it himself. The house sale went through on a Tuesday. By Friday my brother was texting me photos of his new apartment. A 1-bedroom in a bad part of town. He wrote, "Happy now? This is what you wanted, right?" I didn't respond. What am I supposed to say? I wanted my son's college fund back. I got a court order for that. Everything else is his own doing. His ex-wife called me after she heard about the house sale. She got half the proceeds in the separation agreement. She's using it to cover their daughter's therapy bills because apparently watching her father steal from her cousin and then lose everything messed her up pretty badly. She keeps asking if her dad is a bad person, she told me. I don't know what to say. I didn't know what to tell her. He is a bad person. He did a bad thing and he's facing consequences for it. But that's her father. That's complicated. The garnishment is still hitting his paychecks. He got a second job doing weekend security work. Posted about it on Facebook with some passive-aggressive caption about working 70 hours a week to pay off a debt to family. The comments were split. Half the people felt sorry for him. The other half asked what he did to owe family money. He deleted the post after an hour. My son's college fund has about $8,000 back in it now. Still $17,000 short plus the growth we lost. My lawyer said at the current rate it'll take almost 4 years to get everything back. 4 years of my brother working 2 jobs and living in a 1-bedroom apartment and resenting us. My aunt showed up at my house uninvited 3 days ago. She let herself in through the garage while I was making dinner. Just walked into my kitchen like she owned the place. We need to talk about your brother. I told her to leave. She didn't. She stood there talking about family and forgiveness and how I'm being cruel. How my brother made one mistake and I'm making him pay for it forever. It wasn't a mistake. He researched it. He planned it. He knew about the penalties and he did it anyway. She started crying. Said I used to be such a sweet girl and she doesn't know what happened to me. I told her what happened is my brother stole $25,000 from my kid and I'm not going to pretend that's okay because it makes Thanksgiving easier. She left but not before telling me I'm going to regret this when my brother does something desperate. That comment stuck with me. I called my lawyer the next day and asked if there's any way my brother could make this worse for himself. She said as long as he keeps making payments and doesn't try to hide assets or flee the state he should be fine. But if he does anything stupid, like trying to drain another account or harassing us, we could pursue additional damages. I filed for a no-contact order yesterday. Not a restraining order, just a formal request that he stop contacting me and my son directly. He can communicate through lawyers about the repayment but that's it. The late-night door banging was bad enough. My aunt's threat about him doing something desperate was the final push. My son asked if his uncle hates him now. I told him his uncle hates himself and he's looking for someone to blame. That seemed to help. But he's different now. More cynical. He watches me check the bank account every week when the garnishment payment hits. He asks about the lawsuit updates. He shouldn't have to think about this stuff at 14. My brother's second job isn't going well according to his ex. He fell asleep during a shift and got written up. He's exhausted and angry and apparently telling everyone who will listen that I'm a vindictive monster who won't let him rebuild his life. Rebuild his life. Like he's the victim here. Like he didn't steal from a child and spend it on camping equipment in 10 weeks. The equipment is still in his storage unit. His ex-wife told me. He's paying monthly storage fees on thousands of dollars worth of gear he could sell to pay back the debt faster. But he won't. Because selling it would mean admitting he was wrong. Would mean accepting that he traded his nephew's future for kayaks and bikes he doesn't even use. I'm not dropping the lawsuit. I'm not reducing the garnishment. I'm not making this easier for him. My son deserves every penny back and my brother deserves every consequence he's facing. But my whole family is fracturing over this. My mom won't talk to me. My aunt thinks I'm cruel. Cousins are taking sides. There's a family group chat I got removed from where they're apparently discussing how to handle me at upcoming events. My son saw a cousin at the store last week. The cousin walked past him without saying anything. Just looked at him and kept walking. My son came home and asked if people think he's a bad person for not forgiving his uncle. I told him there's nothing to forgive yet because his uncle hasn't actually apologized or taken real responsibility. An apology isn't just words. It's changed behavior. It's making amends. His uncle is still playing victim and keeping the stuff he bought with stolen money. Am I wrong for pushing this until every penny is back? Everyone acts like I should just let it go, but he stole from my kid and he'd do it again if he thought he could get away with it. My brother tried to break into my house last night and my son called the police before I even knew what was happening. I was asleep. It was 2 a.m. My son heard something at the back door and looked out his window. Saw my brother trying to force the sliding glass door open. My son didn't wake me up. He didn't panic. He just called 911 and told them someone was trying to break in. The cops got there in 6 minutes. Found my brother in the backyard with a crowbar. He told them he was just trying to get some things he left here months ago. The officers asked if he lived here. He said no. They asked if he had permission to be there. He said he shouldn't need permission because we're family. They arrested him for attempted breaking and entering. I woke up to flashing lights and a cop knocking on my door asking if I knew the man they had in the back of their car. My son was sitting on the couch completely calm. Too calm. He gave his statement like he'd done it 100 times before. Described what he saw, what time he called, everything. The officer kept looking at him like he couldn't believe a 14-year-old was this composed. After they left, my son finally broke down. Not crying. Just shaking. Said he knew it was his uncle right away because of his car parked down the street. Said he almost didn't call because he didn't want to get him in more trouble, but then he remembered what I told him about the crowbar and got scared. I never told him about a crowbar. I don't know where he got that detail. Maybe he made it up to justify calling. Maybe some part of him knew his uncle was desperate enough to actually break in. My brother spent the night in jail. Got released on bail the next morning. My mom paid it. She called me screaming about how I'm putting her son in prison over money. I told her he tried to break into my house with a crowbar and she said he wouldn't have to do that if I wasn't bleeding him dry with a garnishment. He's desperate. You drove him to this. He drove himself to this when he stole from a kid. She's paying for his lawyer now. A criminal defense attorney on top of everything else. My aunt posted on Facebook about it. Didn't mention the breaking and entering part. Just said my brother was arrested and needs help with legal fees. The post made it sound like I had him arrested for not paying me back fast enough. The comments were disgusting. People I've known my whole life calling me greedy and vindictive. Someone said I'm destroying a man's life over a college fund my son might not even use. Another person said I should be ashamed for choosing money over family. I commented with the truth. Said he tried to break into my house at 2 a.m. with a crowbar and my 14-year-old son had to call the police. My aunt deleted my comment and blocked me. My son's been different since that night. He triple checks the locks before bed. Looks out the window when he hears cars outside. He asked me if his uncle is going to come back. I told him no, but I don't actually know that. The no contact order means nothing if my brother is willing to break into my house. My lawyer filed an emergency motion to increase the garnishment based on the break-in. She said it shows he's willing to escalate and we need the debt paid faster before he does something worse. The judge is reviewing it, but it could take weeks. My brother's criminal lawyer called me. Asked if I'd be willing to drop the charges if my brother agreed to sell his equipment and put the proceeds toward the debt. I said no. He committed a crime. My son had to call the police on his own uncle in the middle of the night. That's not something I can just forgive because he's finally willing to sell his toys. The lawyer said my brother is facing up to 3 years if convicted. That the break-in combined with the civil lawsuit makes him look dangerous and unstable. Like that's my fault. Like I forced him to show up at my house with a crowbar at 2 a.m. My brother's ex-wife called me after she heard. She's terrified. Said if he's willing to break into my house he might try to take their daughter. She filed for an emergency custody order. Full custody with supervised visitation only. She's using the arrest as evidence that he's unstable and potentially dangerous. Their daughter is 8. She doesn't understand why she can't see her dad anymore. His ex told her daddy made some bad choices and needs to work on himself before he can have visits. The girl asked if her daddy is going to jail. Her mom didn't know what to say. My mom is planning an intervention. That's what my aunt told me before she blocked me. They're getting the whole family together to confront me about ruining my brother's life. They want me to drop everything. The civil lawsuit, the criminal charges, the garnishment. Just let it all go and let him start over. I'm not going to the intervention. I'm not dropping anything. My brother tried to break into my house while my son was sleeping. He brought a crowbar. He was willing to do whatever it took to get inside. And my family wants me to forgive that because we share DNA. My son asked me yesterday if people are going to hate him now. I asked him why he thought that. He said because he called the police on his uncle. Because if he hadn't called, his uncle wouldn't be facing jail time and losing custody of his daughter. I told him he did exactly what he was supposed to do. That calling the police when someone tries to break into your house isn't wrong even if that person is family. He didn't look convinced. The court date for the criminal charges is in 3 weeks. My lawyer said I'll have to testify about the relationship history in the civil lawsuit. The prosecutor wants to establish motive. Show that my brother was desperate and angry about the garnishment and decided to take matters into his own hands. My brother's lawyer is apparently going to argue that he wasn't trying to break in. That he was just checking on the house because he was worried about us. The crowbar was in case of an emergency. He was being a concerned family member. That's not going to work. There's no way to spin showing up at 2 a.m. with a crowbar as concern. But my family believes it. Or they want to believe it. My mom keeps telling anyone who will listen that my brother would never hurt us. That he was probably just panicking about money and wanted to talk. That I overreacted by having him arrested. My son heard glass break last week and I found him in the hallway with a baseball bat. He's 14 and he's walking around his own house with a weapon because his uncle taught him that family isn't safe. My brother took a plea deal 3 days before his trial was supposed to start. 18 months probation, mandatory anger management, and he has to pay my legal fees on top of the garnishment. His lawyer told him he'd get actual prison time if he went to trial because of the crowbar and the 911 call from my son. He signed the papers without looking at me once. We were in the same courthouse hallway for 20 minutes while they processed everything and he stared at the floor the whole time. His lawyer did all the talking. My brother just stood there like someone else was controlling his body. The garnishment continues. The judge added the criminal legal fees on top of it, so now he's losing almost 30% of every paycheck. His second job fired him 2 weeks ago for falling asleep during another shift. He's back to one income and drowning. He sold the equipment finally. All of it. Got about $11,000 for everything. It went straight to the debt. We're at 19,000 recovered now. Still 6,000 short plus the growth we lost, but my lawyer says we should have everything back within 18 months if he keeps making payments. His ex-wife got full custody. The judge said supervised visitation only until he completes anger management and maintains stable employment for 6 consecutive months. Their daughter is in therapy twice a week. The therapist told her mom that she's having nightmares about her dad going to jail. My mom stopped speaking to me entirely. She didn't come to the hearing. Didn't call afterward. My aunt told me she's ashamed to have me as a daughter. That I chose money over family and now I have to live with destroying my brother's life. I saw him at the grocery store last week. He was in the checkout line ahead of me. Saw him counting change to pay for basics. Milk, bread, eggs. He was short by $1 and the cashier was waiting and he just stood there looking at his hands like he couldn't figure out what to do. I didn't help him. I stood there and watched him put the eggs back and pay for the rest. He saw me when he turned around. Made eye contact for maybe 2 seconds. Then he left. My son asked if I felt bad about it. About watching his uncle struggle to buy groceries. I told him the truth. I don't know what I feel anymore. Satisfied isn't the right word. Neither is guilty. It's just heavy. This weight that doesn't go away. My son is doing better. The nightmares stopped about a month ago. He doesn't check the locks obsessively anymore. But he's different now in ways I can't fix. More guarded. Less trusting. He told his school counselor he doesn't believe in family anymore and the counselor called me concerned. I tried explaining that some family is still safe. That his uncle made choices and faced consequences but that doesn't mean everyone will hurt him. He listened but I could tell he didn't believe me. The intervention never happened. My mom canceled it when my brother took the plea deal. She told my aunt there was no point anymore because I'd already won. Like this was some kind of competition. Like I wanted any of this. My brother's apartment is in a building where 3 people got arrested for drug possession last month. The parking lot has broken glass everywhere. He works 45 hours a week and lives in a place that isn't safe and eats eggs and bread because that's what he can afford after the garnishment takes its cut. And I'm supposed to feel like the villain here. His probation officer called me last month. Asked if my brother had tried to contact me or my son. I said no. She said good, keep it that way, he's not doing well mentally and any contact could trigger a violation. She didn't elaborate on what not doing well meant. I didn't ask. The college fund is growing again. I'm putting in extra every month to make up for the lost growth. My son will have enough for a 4-year degree at a state school, maybe more if the market stays stable. That's what matters. That's what all of this was for. But he asked me last week if college is even worth it anymore. If it's worth what it cost our family. I didn't know how to answer that. How do you tell your kid that protecting his future was the right choice when his future self is sitting across from you questioning whether the price was too high? My brother's ex-wife reached out last month. Said their daughter asked if she could see me. I haven't seen her since before all this started. She's 8 now. I said yes. She came over with her mom and we made cookies. She didn't mention her dad once. Just talked about school and her friends and a book she was reading. Normal kid stuff. When she left she hugged me and said she missed me. Her mom told me later that she's one of the only stable family connections the girl has left. That everyone else took sides and she's caught in the middle of it. She asked if I'd be willing to see her regularly. I said yes. So now I see my niece every other weekend and her dad can't be there because of the no contact order and the supervised visitation requirements. She doesn't ask why. She's 8 but she's figured out that asking questions about her dad makes the adults uncomfortable, so she just doesn't. My son and her get along. They play video games and she looks up to him. Last week she asked him if he was mad at her dad. He said yes. She asked if she should be mad too. He told her that's something she has to figure out for herself. She's 8 years old trying to figure out if she should be angry at her father for stealing from her cousin and breaking into our house with a crowbar. That's what this turned into. The family group chat my aunt runs has 43 members now. I'm not in it but my son's friend's mom is, and she told me they're planning to exclude me from every family event going forward. Weddings, funerals, birthdays, everything. The vote was 38-5. 5 people out of 43 think I did the right thing. Everyone else thinks I'm a monster who destroyed a man's life over money. My brother has 16 months of probation left. 16 months of anger management and supervised visitation and garnished wages. Then what? Does he get to be part of the family again? Do I? Does my son? I don't regret pursuing the lawsuit. I don't regret pressing charges when he tried to break in. But I'm tired. Tired of being the villain in everyone else's story. Tired of watching my son struggle with trust. Tired of seeing my niece caught between her love for her father and the reality of what he did. The college fund will be whole again in 18 months. My son will go to college without debt. That was always the goal. I achieved it. But the family I thought we had doesn't exist anymore. My brother is a shell of who he was. My mom won't speak to me. My son learned that family can hurt you. And my niece is growing up thinking love and betrayal are the same thing. I got the money back. That's what everyone will remember. Not why I fought for it. Not what he did to make it necessary. Just that I chose money over family. Maybe they're right.